Is it okay to get a psychic reading from someone else when you're trying to own your powers? We're going to get into that today, as well as 3 signs that you are ready to have a psychic reading. But first, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Hannah, and I help people to own their powers and step into the driver's seat of their own lives. And today we're going to be doing that by delving into 3 signs you're definitely going to want to have in place before you seek guidance or counsel from an external source, from a psychic specifically. Is seeing a psychic a form of giving away your powers? It can be, but it's a very nuanced answer. In my experience, I find getting readings with psychics, even now, even though I myself am a psychic giving readings to others, I still find it very, very helpful to meet with a psychic generally every few months or so. I find that it's really useful for getting a read on the current energies and, as a result, any current blockages you may be feeling or experiencing in your life that you might be blind to otherwise. And from there, you can use it as a platform to then own your powers. Psychic readings can also give you that little boost of external validation needed to really trust yourself, so you can start giving yourself readings and giving others readings as well. Sometimes we just need a little validation boost so we can start trusting ourselves and realize that we are not crazy, that we're not making this stuff up, that other people are reading the same energy that we are. So actually, I probably wouldn't be talking to you today if it weren't for my very first ever psychic reading with Steve the Psychic. I was in a really dark place in my life, and I was starting to notice that I might have gifts, psychic gifts, but I was honestly feeling like I was totally losing my mind. My whole life, like, my abilities had been suppressed. People told me that I was childish and crazy and imaginative and creative. And I thought that the psychic experiences I was having weren't actually real. It wasn't until that first reading with Steve that he validated for me, yes, I am psychic. And from there, I could start trusting what came through and developing my own abilities to the point where I'm able to validate myself. You may be at this point yourself, and we're about to delve into 3 signs that you are ready to see a psychic, whether it's your first time seeing a psychic, or if you're not sure, you haven't seen one in a while, and you're just trying to get a current read on the energy. 3 signs that you are ready. But first, a special announcement. This video is officially sponsored by Keen, an online platform that connects you with psychic readers. And you can also connect with psychic readers on demand, which I found super, super cool. So I will just say, I'm not the type to promote stuff just 'cause. I only promote stuff that I truly believe in and that I have personally had a good experience with. And I can tell you, my personal experience with Keen blew my mind, actually. It was totally life-changing. I only had a short reading, like less than 20 minutes, and yet I was buzzing from the energy like a week after the reading. It literally lifted my vibration, and it gave me the clarity I needed to move forward in my life with serious personal issues that were giving me a problem for like a good 3 years or so. One reading with a reader on Keen, and boom, I was able to see it from a different perspective and break out of that stasis. And I've just been buzzing, my friends, since that reading. Let me tell you, I've been on cloud 9. So I definitely wanted to share Keen with all of you so that you may also have the opportunity for such an awesome, empowering experience. If you would like to support me and another psychic and yourself, all for less than $10, go check out Keen right now. So I'm going to be leaving an affiliate link in both the description below and the comments. And if you click on that link, it's going to get you 10 minutes of Keen just for $1.99, my friends. This is an amazing opportunity. I hope you'll check it out. And again, by doing this, you will not only be supporting the reader you get a reading with and myself, but yourself. But the question is, are you really ready for a psychic reading right now? Or are you just going to use it as a crutch of sort of codependence, of giving your power away to someone else? And let me tell you, no judgment if you've been there, done that, because I've been there and done that before. And I think everyone on the spiritual path does this at some point, where we're just giving all of our power away to a psychic. But again, I find that it's a very useful tool when used consciously. And when you're not coming from this codependent, needy sort of place. And now we're going to get into those 3 signs that you are ready for a psychic reading. So first is that you just feel stuck and lost. And maybe you've tried many things to get out of your situation, and you just can't seem to break out of it. What connecting in with a psychic does is oftentimes it will literally lift your vibration, like my reading with the keen reader did. It will lift your vibration. And not only will the reader then give you advice from a higher perspective, but you will then be able to see your own life from that higher perspective as well. And then you can decide whether or not you want to take the reader's advice or listen to the reader, or whether your own intuition, your own guides speak directly to you and you want to channel that. All in all, when you're just really stuck in a loop, sometimes all you need to unstuck yourself is just a little tweak in perspective. And in my experience, that's what readers offer. So 2 is that you feel like you're in a low vibrational state, right? So you can tell if you're feeling literally heavy, if you're having a lot of like persistent unwanted thoughts, if you're feeling really anxious, if you're feeling really depressed, if you're just having like an Eeyore sort of persona, these are all good indications that you're in a low vibrational state. And that is a good time to seek the counsel of a psychic reader. Like I said, not only can they see things from higher perspectives and help you lift your vibe, but they can then channel messages from your guides or your higher self, or maybe other sources such as deceased loved ones, that can help you get out of that low vibrational state. So a note on that is our guides and our higher self, they are always communicating with us, okay? They are always communicating with us. They do not abandon you. I know probably if you're in a low vibe state right now, that sounds like BS, and you're like, I've totally been abandoned. My guides are assholes and stuff. I promise you they're not. I promise you, you are always connected, protected, and loved. You are always connected to your guides and higher self. And they are always talking to you through everyone and everything you encounter. However, when we're in the low vibrational state, we are not a match to that higher vibrational frequency energy. And so oftentimes we will miss these messages. We just won't hear it. We feel like we're alone and we're disconnected because we're just too low vibe to be able to actually receive what's already there. So like I said, connecting with a psychic, you can get a direct answer from your guides and higher self. It's so like loud and clear, right? There's no interpreting necessary. Like for example, if you see the sign 1111, you're like, well, that's cool, but I don't know what it means. When you are having kind of a third party to mediate between you and your guides and higher self, they can just relay the message directly to you, so you don't have to like overexert yourself trying to figure it out. And you'll also know that you'll definitely receive that message. And oftentimes just receiving that message is what you need to lift your vibe and then unstuck yourself. And as mentioned, oftentimes when you lift your vibe like that, then you're going to be able to get direct communication from your own higher self and guides. And you can decide, you can discern whether you want to take the psychic's advice or not. And I can honestly tell you, I have had many readings with psychics where they've told me things that I realized weren't my truth. And I was in such a high vibrational state after the meeting that I was able to then discern, like, No, I'm not going to accept that as my truth. That's not my truth. But I feel like seeing a reader is always a good thing. It's not like I'm demonizing these readers or I felt bad like I wasted my money seeing them. No, because even that is communication from our higher self and guides. That is contrast. So in these readers telling me like exactly what I maybe didn't want to hear, I was able to get very clear on what I did want in my life and how I wanted to show up in the world. So final note on this, though our guides are always communicating with us, sometimes communication through a psychic is the easiest and loudest way for them to reach us. So yeah, like I'm sure if you're a psychic as well, if you're an intuitive kind of person, you've heard this stereotype, like it's easier to read for others than it is for yourself. And sometimes like we get so lost in our own energy, we can't even interpret the messages from our guides or receive the messages from our own guides. So sometimes the easiest way for them to communicate with us is through another person. And then we get to decide what we want to do with that information. So number 3, and this is by far the most important, saving the best for last, you are seeking confirmation, not validation. Now, this is requiring me to get a little bit pedantic because I myself all the time, and I believe earlier in this video, maybe even, I use the word validation in regard to psychic readings and stuff. I'll even say to clients like, I'm happy to provide that external validation for you. However, what I'm really meaning when I say that is confirmation. So here's the difference. Confirmation is seeking reassurance on something you already kind of know or suspect, no matter how deep down. There's like a little voice in you that already kind of knows or suspects this one thing. And then you're trying to go to a psychic then to get confirmation that what you've received is in fact what you were receiving and what you were meant to hear from your guides and higher self. This is honestly like such a fantastic and powerful way to start trusting your own intuition and developing your psychic gifts because, again, I'm sure like me, you have questioned yourself constantly. You've doubted yourself and your gifts. You felt like you were just crazy, like you're pulling stuff out of your ass. And sometimes what we need is for another person who's maybe never even met us and knows nothing about our situation to tell us the same thing we already kind of intuitively knew deep down, you know? Once we have that external confirmation, we can then start to build up the trust muscles with ourselves and our own gifts. Now, validation, on the other hand, is seeking your truth from an external source, okay? And an external source only. It's like you'll go into something and you really are just kind of hoping for someone to tell you what to do. It is kind of the best way I can describe that. It's like you really, there's a difference because I'm not saying that you can't just go in with open expectations. That's different. Sometimes people will come to me and they'll be like, all right, I just want to hear whatever my guides or higher self want me to know. Maybe they're not seeking specific confirmation on anything, and that's cool. But I can tell that those particular clients are coming from an empowered place themselves. But when you're like just asking for someone else to tell you what to do or to like give you permission, and then you're like intending to just take that information on as your truth, just like all of it without questioning any of it, that's when you start to give your power away. That's when it starts to become a little codependent. So you have to be careful that you're not falling into that trap. It's a slippery slope, and I've seen many people fall into it. I've almost fallen into it myself a few times. So that being said, friends, I'm curious. Let me know in the comments, are you a psychic reader? And if you are not, have you gotten a psychic reading before? And then also, how many of these 3 signs do you think you can relate to? If you relate to all 3, again, a reminder, you can support me, another psychic, and yourself by getting a reading through Keen. Again, you don't even need much time. Just a short reading could give you that boost, that vibrational boost that you might need to unstuck yourself. And of course, you can always get a reading with me personally as well if you feel called to do that. As always, friends, if you're resonating with this content and with me, I would encourage you to give us a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when I post on my super erratic schedule. Me and the dragons will love you forever if you can do this, because as I always say, this helps the algorithm along. It helps get this information out to others so that they can then empower themselves. So it is very much appreciated. And of course, me and the dragons love you forever anyways. Until next time, friends, stay powerful.